for a new and different perspective every week on LEGO sets, news, media, and more. You're listening to the BCC Podcast.
Today is Friday, September 21st of 2018, and you're listening to episode 167 of the BCC Podcast. I'm Ford, and here with me today is LQ.
Isn't it great when you do something every week for months and months, then all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore?
You mean like OBS?
Yeah. OBS just stopped recording the overlay for some reason, so I had to find I'm not sure if it's technically a fork or not, but it's Streamlabs OBS we're recording on tonight now, which has a really cool interface, but it was annoying that I had to rebuild the entire profile inside of it in order to get this podcast going.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, that kind of sucks. I'm also here with Mace.
Personally, I do agree. It is great when things fall through.
Wait, what?
It's great when things go horribly, horribly wrong.
Oh yeah. Gives you the chance to
You mean-
improvise, to adapt, to overcome.
Like that one time where... Darn it, I'm trying to think of a time that wouldn't be too horrible to mention on recording, but it's horrible enough to drive home my point in a brutal fashion.
The time when something happened that was unpleasant. Haha. Gotcha.
Yeah, I can't think of any examples I can put on air. Let's move on.
Next is Leo.
You know what else is great?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Yes, but really, do you remember the 21st night of September?
Leo, didn't we have a meeting about this?
I forgot about that!
It's the song for the day.
Yeah!
It's the 21st of September, and this is the 21st
It is!
night
I gotta
of
listen to
September.
that song before I go
I've
to
never
bed.
even heard that song.
It's
What?
September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. You've heard of it.
No.
Oh, that's that song?
Yeah!
It's not like anyone
I
can
only-
understand the lyrics to it.
Yeah, I didn't know it actually had lyrics. I just thought it was a bunch of screaming.
Yeah, sure. Last but not least, I'm here with Klenda.
Thank you, because I wanted to talk.
What do you want to say?
I wanted to say, oh, that's what that song is. I thought that I hadn't heard that song before. Also, you had a meeting specifically about Leo singing?
Yeah, remember the one where we said to stop referencing stuff in the podcast intro because it just gets boring?
But it is the 21st of September. It's a momentous
How did I
very
not
relevant.
realize this?
Wait, you don't remember that meeting? You were there.
No. How do I not remember that today was the 21st of September? First I missed Talk Like a Pirate Day, now this?
Arr.
I feel so
Wait,
cheated.
when was Talk Like a Pirate Day?
The 19th.
Like 2 days ago.
What?
I feel so bad because this
Come
is the second
on!
year
I
in a row
had
I've
tutoring
missed
that
it.
day. I could have been like, Arg, you're gonna get this or
Shanghai.
go to.
You know,
Or
I want to do
whatever.
some research on what pirates actually talked like historically.
And they
Yeah.
talk
Depends on
like
where they were from.
Shakespeare,
Well,
obviously.
Well, the only pirates that matter are the ones from the
Forces.
Caribbean.
It's true.
Then they
Sure.
have
What about
Caribbean
the
accents.
pirates from the Indian
No,
Ocean?
a lot of the pirates, though, were those who defected from the British Army because they are people who are tired of the hierarchical structure of the British ships. So that's why, unlike in pirate movies, there wasn't really a captain that had like all the authority. It was more of a democracy on the ship.
Ah.
And now we know.
So you're saying each ship was America?
Not exactly. It's more
That's
like
not how
it's like the libertarian version of America.
So it was like America, but with scurvy dogs.
and
Kind of.
It's
scurvy in
Robin
the
Hood
teeth.
on the sea.
I mean, a normal, a stereotypical pirate accent is a combination between Irish and I think Australian, and Australians speak that way because they're drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not because they're a country of prisoners
British.
Well, that's
I
why
think
they were
it's both.
drunk.
and criminals.
British.
Leo, if you were a prisoner, wouldn't you be drunk all the time?
No, I'd have scurvy.
Wouldn't you have both, though? Because pirates did.
If you had scurvy, wouldn't you want to be drunk all the time?
No, because I'd be on the ship.
But this is the Australian scenario, so you wouldn't
And
be on a ship.
as Admiral Nelson said, he would rather go to prison than go on a Navy ship.
Yeah, but whoever Admiral
something
Nelson
along
is,
those
he's
lines.
dead, so he
Because
doesn't
at
count.
least in prison they give you limes.
He's dead. He doesn't
Well, at
count.
least in prison, you don't have the chance of drowning.
I don't think did they really give
I
you
know,
limes
Or
back in
starvation.
the
You get limes,
1800s?
but it's the
Life,
disease, not
life
the
was
food.
safer in prison than on a British Navy ship back in the 18th century.
Well,
pretty
obviously you're in the Navy. It's
That's
That's not the same thing as being.
you're not
in the
expected to
Navy,
come
though.
back alive.
Open war.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Not even open war, just being on the ships itself back then. As
Yeah,
as
but
a-
fighting is
one of
probably
the
a
crew.
big danger.
Did a lot of the ships sink, Leo?
Well, I don't know. I can ask my grandfather. I just know that the sailor's life was not merry.
You see, whenever
Well,
anyone
today
went
we're
to
going
the
to talk
crow's
about a ship
nest-
that's already sank.
Ooh,
Oh boy.
got him.
Yes, we're going to talk about shipping in the Lego community.
Otherwise known as
Particularly the
Bionicle
Ninjago community.
G2.
Shipping in G2. Okay, we're already narrowing it.
There's hardly
noise.
any. There's
Cricket
hardly
noise.
any shipping
Play
for
the
G2.
cricket noise.
I don't know how to do a
You
fading
should know better
transition.
not
I
to
do.
give me
I
any
actually do.
opportunities like this.
So it's been a while since this document came out, actually, but we've been busy and not having the chance to discuss it. So, Ford, you know this story better than I do, so you should explain it to the audience.
Okay, so I was browsing Reddit one day. I browse
As you
Reddit
do.
every once in a
The
while.
front page of the internet.
Yeah, totally. Specifically the Bionicle subreddit. And I stumbled upon this document here, which is supposedly a version of the 2015 Bionicle Story Bible that was pretty much like a Google Doc for all intents and purposes. And would be added to by the workers on the project over time until completed. I have no idea when it was last updated or something like that.
Doesn't it say here?
I don't remember,
Let's see.
but apparently it was found on some kind of Russian
it
server.
was at least 2014.
Oh wow, yeah. But apparently it was found on a Russian server, and it was leaked to the public for consumption. I guess Lego doesn't care about it anymore, but here it is. I think TTV actually reported on one thing in this regarding the
Yes.
massive
have-
spoiler, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, let's just put out. TTV was accused of lying about something they heard at New York Comic Con, is what it came down to.
Really?
And yeah, and then this confirms that they were not lying.
Really?
That's the short version of the story. You can go
So
listen to their
wait,
podcast
this-
if you want the full story.
Innocent.
Yeah, I'll have to
boys.
hear about that.
Been
I haven't
being-
I
heard
believe they.
anything
Yeah,
about
they.
that.
It
Episode
developed,
300, they touch on it.
It developed around 2014.
Yeah, that's when this would have
Well,
been. a
yeah,
thing.
September 2014. Whenever New York Comic Con was.
So yeah, that's a thing. Go check out their podcast. Like I said, I believe episode 300 they talk about it. It's like a 3-hour podcast, but there should be timestamps, I think.
You could also conceivably go to episode 100.
No, but
Not 10.
it's easier to go to the most recent one because they talk more about the controversy in that one.
I thought they made a. Did it? Or was there a news video specifically?
There is a news video about
Yeah, there was a news video.
the.
Do we want to address what was talked about, or just let our viewers?
No,
go watch it?
we don't need to. That's their issue,
Yeah.
not ours. I just want people to know that information is there, and if they were a part of that at all, they should go get the full story. All right. So, the whole document is about 56 pages,
56, yes.
but a lot of it is actually stuff that was just put on the website.
Yeah, it's nothing new, but it
And-
goes to show,
and
like, if this was
transcripts
a
of the first
working
9
document,
episodes.
yeah, if this was a working document,
Oh, and
then it's like, come on, guys.
I think like the last 5 pages are just the scripts to some of the episodes.
Yeah, it's just
too.
They are.
transcripts to the first 7
They are.
webisodes.
Now, before we get further though, I want you to answer this question for me again, Ford, that I asked when you first showed this to me, so the audience knows.
Okay.
What do we have to know that this is legitimate?
It was found on a
exists.
secure. Again, it's been a couple weeks, so give me a break here, is found on a secure Russian server,
As all
owned
good
by
things are.
owned by this big conglomerate that also had ownership over content owned by Nickelodeon in that region.
So it's a hit piece put out by Shrek.
Yes.
Sure.
I don't remember exactly where it came from, but it came in this huge cache of information. Not only just from this conglomerate that owned Nickelodeon, but then a whole bunch of other, like, information storage servers or whatever.
So there's
but
nothing we have to say this document isn't.
There
but
is
take it with a
stuff
grain of
out there
salt.
that says that it's legit. I just don't remember the exact name of that stuff that says it's legit. Does that make
Plus,
sense?
there's nothing. I feel like if someone was trying to make a fake, they would have done a better job than this document.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's so bad it must be real.
Well, then maybe that's part of the conspiracy. They knew that they would expect things to look better in order to look like a fake. But instead, they're making it look like a fake so people think
let
it's
me
real.
see if I can find it real quick. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, let's start talking about the document itself.
Oh,
So like
what
I
part?
said,
All 10
a large
sentences.
portion of it is just literally the character bios
Mhm.
and the transcripts. I'm
Potat
trying to
hate
figure out the
scorpion.
exact.
Kopak hate walking.
Ah, okay. I got it. It's an
Oh,
FTP
Anya, hate
server
leg day.
for a Russian marketing communications agency. With the clients including Lego, Nickelodeon, Discovery, and NBC.
All right.
Yeah.
NBC?
Uh-huh.
It must be
I knew
legit.
they were in with the Russians.
So, yeah.
Are we sure it
About-
actually came from them, though?
So more
Oh,
than
yeah,
half
I'm looking
of this.
at all the stuff here.
more than half
Viacom and
of this
everything.
is stuff that we've already got, and the rest of it was very much out there, except for a few things. Like, we'll get to that. So first things first. Someone else besides me narrate this first part that comes in
All right, you mean the table
Which
of
part are you
contents or
referring to?
important?
important.
All right. Bionicle
No,
material.
don't read it out loud. I want a recap.
Okay, fine. So basically, they have a lineup for the merchandise and stuff for the first year of Bionicle.
Disposable
You know, it says
cameras,
the plot
backpacks,
is going to be based around the
shoes.
battle for the mask of creation. They have 6 Toa Protectors villains sets. They have a plot line.
News
And
to
the brief
me.
description is basically the website tag.
Yeah.
6 heroes,
Yeah.
masters of the elements, set out
Now,
to search
to
for
be
the
fair-
golden mask of power, save time
I'm
from
not
evil.
sure I believe this is a complete story Bible. There's a chance it's not, because this was just given to a marketing division. It's just the information they've given. Like, if you look at what G1 had in marketing and stuff, as comparison to this, you can tell there's a lot more behind it.
Welcome
Yeah.
to Bionicle Age. We also have to keep in mind that some of this might not be word for word what was actually said, because it is translated into English from Russian. So there might be some weird, weird.
But
bad
there's nothing in
encodings.
here that. Well, there's almost nothing new in here is the thing,
Yeah,
and there's nothing
it
that
all
contradicts
pretty much
anything.
matches with what we saw play out.
So yeah, then we get into the plotline stuff.
Yeah, all 5 sentences.
And it's basically, again, what we have. The detailed description is very short. Just the forces of darkness come to life, blah, blah, blah. And they use the mask of... They have the mask of creation, control, ultimate power. Basically, the thing we got at New York Comic Con 2014.
Hang on. So this is a forward to the legend, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This part of the story, or history, was written to tease the fans and explain where the masks came from. We also needed to create the conflict between the positive and negative characters and associate, link, bind them with the masks.
That wasn't really in there. That did come up later, though.
It was pretty well played out. in that
Tease the
initial
fans?
Mhm.
That
Well,
wording is
I
just
mean, yeah.
weird.
I think they mean.
also,
it is
you had
translated
to-
from Russian. You must remember.
Also, you had to define what associated means.
Well, it is translated from Russian again. Maybe they used a Russian word, and
But
then they
still.
explained it into another Russian word, and then that was translated into an English word, and then it sounded like that.
But
Nuance is
come
lost.
on, man.
Well, I think what you're seeing in this is brackets for maybe alternative translations. Who knows?
Maybe.
But
All right, so next up we have the legend section, which is literally the script
legend.
for the legend.
Yes.
Yes. How everything happened.
The legend had more lore put into it than the rest of the entire
Yeah, then we
series.
have
Yep.
That
The Prophecy of
includes
Heroes.
The Netflix
yes,
show.
yeah, the prophecy that's here is a bit different from what we got. But then again, that might just be because of the translation.
Yeah. I'm thinking that might be what's going on.
That would be nice.
So here, let me read the foreword from this part real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
The prophecy is a concept that we had conceived in an early stage, and several ways of using it were devised, but mainly is developed to give a sense of mystery and describe the purpose of the toy. I really don't know what other ways they would have used a prophecy.
Well, just keep in mind they have to be obvious with some of this
We're
stuff.
still thinking whether or not we're going to use it.
Well, they could use the prophecy to tell of an impending doom.
So they thought they were thinking of doing less than they did.
It's there if we can use it. Excellent if not. That's good too.
Well, I'm
What
glad
the
Merlin
heck?
Man decided
That's another-
to use
that-
it.
I'm pretty sure that's another translation thing. It's
Yeah.
probably like, okay,
Probably.
if we don't.
Yeah.
That's I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there. Unless they're saying, excellent if we can get away with less story.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they were going
I don't think
for
that's
with
what
this
they're-
entire thing, but I'm getting ahead
It's
of
their
myself.
sentiment internally, but I don't think they put it on the document.
The next
kinda did,
section
actually.
just makes everybody mad.
Yes.
It is
next
time
section.
changes everything.
Oh, this is my personal favorite.
Now, TDV already read this section, so I don't think we should read it again.
Nah, we can read parts of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was the whole thing. Like the. Also, this does confirm, technically, almost canon, that these are technically the same toe as G1.
Which means the Mata
So
survived.
my
for a
head
very
canon
long
is
time.
it just pulled them out at some random point into this alternate universe, and it sent them right back.
into these
And so
alternate
nothing really ever
bodies.
happened. So really, it was pointless.
Yeah, for all we know, they were like,
It's as
sleeping,
random as
and it was all a dream.
interdimensional travels.
Yeah. No, what if it was just like when they were sleeping in their toa canisters?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
when they were
pretty
called.
much.
That'd be funny.
And that was actually the
the
reason why they
dreams were
didn't remember
twisted.
anything in G1 when they woke up on Matanui. Because
It's-
going from Akodo and back wiped their memories. Like whenever you go through time dimensions, it wipes your memory.
So it really
It's
wasn't the
so
order
dumb.
behind the memory loss.
I assume that everyone has the same favorite line in this particular section.
Which one?
What exactly happened is not important to us.
Yeah, that can sum up G2.
But we need
It
this
literally
trick.
does.
But we need this trick because it allows us to tell the story of Bionicle anew. No! You needed a story to tell Bionicle story anew. Are
See,
you
this is why
stupid?
It really doesn't matter if this is the completed story Bible or not, because it really shows their attitude towards story.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
lack thereof.
I'm
story.
gonna repeat what I said in an earlier podcast when I was a G2 apologist, because I'm kind of not anymore. I'm still coming around. I think they did sets first because they were like, oh yeah, they're really gonna go for these sets because they really love the sets.
Well, that's
I mean,
usually how Lego
what
works.
sells on the aftermarket? Sets. Do books sell in the aftermarket?
Yes.
Okay, yes,
For
but
$1.
like sets.
For $1 a piece.
That's
So
not
they
true.
put
I
their
spent
all
a
into the
few
sets,
dollars
and then
on
they were
3
like,
books.
"Oh yeah, we got to have that story by like next Thursday meeting."
Real
Write
quick,
this
you brought
up.
The point about books, though.
What?
There is one book that sells for really high on the aftermarket, and that's the one I want the most, All Our Sins Remembered. So if anyone knows where I can buy a good quality copy of All Our Sins Remembered for a decent
Well,
price,
that's
please
part of
let
the
me know.
graphic novel, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the final graphic novel as exclusive. It's not in the comics. This was never produced in the comics.
Yeah,
so
I know.
You know collection is complete without All Our Sins Remembered. And
This
I
is
need
true.
it.
Yeah, I need it too.
Yeah, I was referring more
I just
to
need
the
to get
book
all
books
of the
Just
guidebooks
Wars, the
and the
novels.
comic books and stuff.
So anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, it seemed like they were going with sets before story, which like that's fine.
That's what
but
Lego does.
yeah, that's-
It's what they
how about
always
you
do.
put more effort into the story? Like I've said before that, you know, the Bionicle team, I guess they put in a lot of effort, but this shows that I was
The
dead
designers
wrong
did,
about
at
them.
least.
I was actually dead wrong about them because
Yeah,
they put very little effort into this story.
This
And I'm
debunks our
ashamed.
theory that it was just the corporate. Now, corporate could have told them don't have much story, but if someone really cared, they would have done it anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like they could have done better than this. Anybody could have done better
They
than
really
this.
should have hired Greg. His tendency to overcomplicate
Yeah,
would
they
have
shouldn't-
added
he
at
shouldn't have
least
just
one
been a
layer to the
consultant.
story.
Greg does add layers. Maybe a few too many layers, but there are layers.
This seems like
Mm-hmm.
it was, and I might be getting ahead of myself again, but this seems like it was made by a Bionicle fan who didn't like the way G1 went. So they decided to just completely make their own, but disregard everything that made Bionicle what it was.
I've
If-
read Bionicle fanfictions that are better than this.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like the cursed child of Bionicle.
Oh
Literally.
no! Don't bring
So-
that up.
Now we
Wow.
haven't actually
No,
talked about
no,
many.
no.
It is actually.
Wow.
It really is.
Wow. Wow.
It's a bit
Savage
worse than the
tonight.
cursed child, actually.
Oh
No, I
man.
still prefer this to the cursed child.
Don't hold back.
Is it as bad
Don't
as
hold
The
back.
Force Awakens?
Are we? No, let's not go down that road.
I prefer
Oh
the
wait, it
cursed
can't be
child.
because it's not a complete retelling.
I
BAM!
prefer the Force Awakens to the cursed child. I really don't like the
Who
cursed
wouldn't?
child.
Nobody does.
This
mean,
is
that's a
still
pretty
worse than the
fair-
cursed child.
No,
Yes.
you are wrong.
I would have preferred Bionicle's story had a story and it been so horrible that it was more easy to make fun of than it does not have one.
I mean,
Yeah.
at least it was self-aware with. That's bad.
Mm.
No, it is great.
So yeah, then they basically talk about how they're not burdened by what happened in the past. No, I can understand that. Why I can tell a new story,
Yeah,
as long as you tell a new story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In fact,
as long as you tell a story.
mm-hmm. So yeah,
But hey, at least the art was good, right?
Yeah, something.
At least
At
the
least
sets
it
were
looked
great.
pretty.
The sets were really good.
and then they kind of have
A
timeline here,
yeah.
but it's not complete, so we're not going to talk about that because that obviously did change.
Oh, yeah.
It did.
And
How
there's
about
nothing in
them
it.
great beings, guys?
Yeah, that never happened in G2.
Oh, that
Come
hurts.
on, man.
Unless
Yeah.
Wait, what was that about Great Beings? I might have missed that.
It says great beings above the creation of the island.
The past.
Yeah, remember
Great
all we
being.
got
Okay,
was
well, if you remember the guy interview with who wrote the books for G2,
Ryder
Uh,
Wyndham.
Ryder
Merlin
Wyndham.
Man.
he talked about how originally, before they developed the concept of elemental creatures, they were elemental spirits, and I believe this was them. They're
Ah.
and
just-
remember the islands and mazes and such that were built to hide the creatures were built by
Great
undisclosed people, which
yeah,
were the Great
so
Beings.
I believe that the Great Beings were the elemental creatures.
Oh, good. The Glatorian
I think they're
exists
the
in
ones
this
that
universe
hid
too.
the elemental.
Wait, Glatorian? I didn't see anything about Glatorian.
You
The
see,
great beings are Glatorian.
yeah, but Makuta
Oh,
and
well-
Makuta are on the same, so
Canonically, it's not said
Oh
either,
yeah,
but
I know.
Greg said
but
he imagined
hey,
it, but he
they're
didn't
trying to connect
solidify
G1
it.
and G2 with the Mask of Time. I'm not going to put anything past them anymore.
So yeah, then we have synopsis for 2015. Nothing interesting here, really.
Yeah,
Mm.
just literally
Again-
the same thing.
And we have
They didn't
detailed
even
plot.
include Akimu in here, did they?
Yeah, Akimu is
Aside
in here.
Well, he was in the legend, but I don't think he's in the synopsis.
No, he's in
for-
here.
Is he?
He is in the synopsis.
he's the only thing that happened. He has to.
He's not mentioned in the synopsis.
Well,
but
here he's
he-
just mentioned as Mask Maker, but before in the legend,
Later they
he's
do
mentioned
mention-
as Akimu. But
Yeah.
yeah, they do mention it later. So
So then it goes down to Heroes, the Six Toa, the Mask Maker. Yeah, they just say the Mask Maker here. They don't say Akimu.
And
the
they
Mask
also say
Maker is one of
six
the
protectors.
ancient creators.
Well, during in the detailed plot for 2015 part, under the second half, they mentioned Ikimu and the Toa.
Yeah, they like I said, they do mention him, but down here when we get to Heroes, they just call him Mask Maker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Should have called
And then
him
in
Agro.
Villains, there's, really nothing. Again, this is basically what we got for descriptions on the website. So then we come to plot justification.
Was this
Oh,
necessary?
this is
So-
great.
Oh,
How to
boy.
justify
So I
what
guess they
follows-
thought we were so stupid that we wouldn't understand what the hero's
Okay,
journey was.
Let's be fair to him here. I don't know if this is standard protocol for this type of document.
I
Yeah,
don't know if it
definitely
is
could be.
either, but you would think that the hero's journey would be a pretty common knowledge sort of thing to anybody.
Yeah, and also, Bionicle G2 is a very lame example of the hero's journey.
It's not even an example of the hero's journey.
But let me read this out real quick. What follows is a brief outline of what Joseph Campbell defined as the hero's journey. George Lucas and many others found inspiration in this narrative framework. Hero's journey is an
Archetypical.
Yeah, I couldn't actually read the word from here.
Hero's journey is
I'm
an
having to read from
archetypical
behind
structure.
my microphone.
That is an essential part of what defines human existence. That's exactly why it sounds so believable. Hero's
Wait.
journey is divided into 3 stages.
Wait. I'm not sure if this is a common thing, but people really say that about hero's journey, but because the hero's journey is really an entirely fictional type of way of going about things. It defines nothing about human existence.
Well, it's the hero's journey has always in literature has just always been a way to convey information about the human condition.
Yeah. It's a way
I
to
would-
tell a story about somebody, like, say, like a coming-of-age story, for
Like
example.
Odysseus, he goes through the hero's journey.
That, too.
In the Odyssey.
It's like someone triumphing over
no, I get that,
over
but I
something
wouldn't
and
say
doing- yeah.
it's essential part of what defines human existence.
Well, it's an essential part of human
It's a universal
storytelling.
concept, though.
Yeah.
No, it's more of a Western concept, actually. But
Well, it kind of
It's not
originated
existent.
in Greece. Just saying.
Greece is Western.
I mean,
That's where the Western society
Well,
started.
the Western concept of the hero's journey, I guess.
Not the anime concept.
I don't know anything about like European and Asian. They also had it.
I believe that African
Mansa
also
Musa
has
was
that,
just a
though.
king who went on a
Like
pilgrimage
Mansa
and gave out
Musa?
lots of gold.
Everybody has
Well,
a
there's
hero's
examples of it too, but there's also totally different in more traditional Eastern
Oh, no,
African
definitely
type
not,
stories.
but
They don't
there's
have
still
like the
elements
same
of
structure
a
for
journey.
stories we have, where
Well-
usually, in fact, I believe it's called an apex.
Sort of
would
a
be
journey like that,
normally
trying
the
to
structure of the story where the
reconcile
climax
his
was in the
duty as a
middle
warrior with
rather than
his
at the
life.
end.
that's sort of his
But-
hero's journey, going through that. So, there we go.
I mean, certainly there's similarities, but in the
Which is
classic
propensity
sense,
for
it's not the
dance.
same hero's journey because that follows the very
May I
basic,
pause you for a
3-act
moment here?
structure too.
Can I
Tahu's
continue with the
initiation was
process?
him backfisting a skull spider.
Wasn't I reading the process?
No.
You were, but then you couldn't pronounce words, so I took over.
Oh yeah.
Everything starts with the initiation. It's the part of the story where the hero embraces his calling and steps into the path to the unknown. He does not yet realize all the consequences.
Which, if this were a comedy, it'd be
This
great.
never
Yeah.
happens in G2.
Let the adventure begin.
Oh, okay. I guess it does then.
Yeah, because
Yes.
he didn't want to fight him originally, right? He just magically knew Kung Fu.
Yes, it was him messing up and impressing the villagers at the same time. Great work! On the second stage, challenges begin. There is no turning back, and it becomes apparent that the only way is forward. What?
Yeah, we're
Probably
not-
just
This
bad
is such a-
translation there.
This is the good old days of 2015.
On the third and final stage, the hero fully realizes his powers and abilities, and it allows him to defeat the evil. Okay, they only did that
This
when
is
they
very
read a
watered-down
wall.
version of the hero's journey.
That's
I
how it
thought that-
ended.
I'm pretty sure that they're referring to getting the masks of power.
The journey makes the hero capable of defeating evil because the evil no longer has power over him.
I would
You
like
have
to
no
make an
power
addendum
over-
here.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be making references.
How is
is
this
this
Serious force of
implemented
Lord
in
Rings is the
Bionicle
inexorable
universe?
force of history.
So then they go forward and they
There is
reference
no
Star
magic
Wars
in
and Lord of the Rings.
They never
Man, I wish
actually
they
reference
actually-
It's
how
just
it
Gandalf,
actually
who's basically an
happens in
angel.
Bionicle.
Yeah, they just say in Star Wars there is a mystic
That's
force,
literally
and Lord of
all
the
it
Ring
is.
has the power of magic.
Well, they're
Uh-huh.
using this for like explanations for power. it's like the Force is an explanation for the Jedi power.
There isn't.
Well, it's how the hero's journey. See, the second paragraph, the hero's journey means gradually mastering the symbol of power.
And the Force
Yeah.
is not
So
a
in this
driving.
case, Luke
Is not a
Skywalker has
literal
mastered the
driving
Force.
force for the
Sword of
hero's
One Ring involves
journey.
The same 3 stages of mastery over the power, which honestly,
Yeah, this is a different.
no one masters the power of the ring because there is
But
only one.
what does
Lord
that
of the
have to
Rings.
do with the hero's journey?
Yeah, only Bilbo and Sam have mastery over the ring.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not mastery. It's mastery over their desire of wanting the ring. But that's semantics.
Except for
No,
Sam.
you can't
Yeah,
master
that's
the
kind
power
of
of
a
the
silly
ring.
analogy.
Sam the Hobbit.
I
Never
don't
got
think
taken.
they realize it. I don't see the people who are writing this document really internalizing what these two stories,
Even
Star Wars
that,
and
I
Lord of the
would
Rings, are telling about the
question
hero's
calling
journey.
it mastery, like, because it's the thing. Yeah.
Good old Sam.
Well, they're a symbol of the Jedi, a weapon, an elegant weapon for a more civilized.
Oh yeah,
age.
because it goes forward to say these powers, which are somewhat abstract by themselves, manifest in symbols of power, as in lightsabers and magic rings. That's look, lightsabers have nothing to do with the Force.
there are the 3 elven rings.
Yeah, but not about the Jedi's power.
Well, they do.
They're
It's
a tool
just
of the Jedi,
indirect.
much like their
Yeah.
cape.
And again, it's a
Right.
horrible
It's a
analogy
very
with the One
indirect
Ring because
influence that
it's
they
not
have.
something you want. It's evil.
Yeah, it's something
Yeah, I
you
don't know
want
why
to
they're
destroy.
using that as an analogy.
Masks.
And only one features in the stories.
Yeah, but
You
they
know,
never.
I want to
do
see what the
anything with them in
2001
the
story.
story.
Yeah, the
had
elves
to
just
say
stand
about
around
the
and
masks.
maybe one or two of them have one on, but that's it.
Yeah.
And then they up the masks.
Yay.
Yeah.
The physical manifestation of power. So yeah, that
Words.
I want
the
the
2001 story Bible. Greg said that was like the size of several phone books by the end, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. And this is 56 pages in a Word document.
powers.
I don't think that one had pictures either, if I recall correctly.
yeah, no pictures.
Wouldn't
Funny.
be filler.
I
The
wonder if it
hero's
was
journey
just
means
story.
gradually mastering the symbols of power. G2 didn't do that either.
No.
Yeah.
They find the mask
Master
and then they
mask.
can feel the power.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's
Search
not
your
really a
feelings for it. You know
hero's
this to
journey
be
in
true.
G2.
Luke Skywalker begins only with superficial knowledge of the Force and ends up mastering it. Luke never really mastered the Force either, by the way. Just
Well,
pointing that out.
he never mastered
Thus-
it in current canon.
Thus, well, the other canon sucks anyways.
Bruh,
George
no!
never even read them.
Yeah, it's true. Alfew's
Force
right.
Thus, he
Unleashed is
defeats
awesome
the
and
evil
you know
and
it.
saves the world. Okay, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that was
Just
translation
remember,
because it should not be world.
Back when
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings was
Star Wars.
published,
The story
ring
of the
was
One
likened
Ring
to the power
involves
of
the same
atomic
3
bomb,
stages
which
of
did not
mastery
have
over the
good
power.
communication.
They never
No, it
mastered the
doesn't!
power of the One
It doesn't!
Ring! Are you stupid?
Lord of the Rings is like not at all the same type
Exactly.
of story as Star Wars.
I. Nah.
But it does have good guys and bad guys. Boom.
Bionicle.
Doesn't have good
That's not a
connotations
good
now.
power to have.
My cootie.
So year 1, the Toa obtain the Mask of Power and unleash the power of their elements,
That didn't
and
really happen.
that's as far as that goes. That's the end.
They didn't unleash the power of their elements. They
In
got beaten up
Bionicle
and the king
universe,
saved them.
Makuta represents absolute
Oh,
evil.
also the Matrix is talked about here.
But there are 2 other Matrix films.
Oh, really?
In
What's
the,
it say?
Ryan would like that.
Yeah, but you still
imagine the
have to
hero
finish his
progressing
mission.
from A New Hope to The Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, or from Fellowship of the Rings to
But his
Two
journey was
Towers
not complete.
and Return of the King. In The
still
Matrix, on
had
the other
to-
hand, the whole process is contained in one film.
He still had to
That's
save
true.
Zion.
That's true. No, they mean Neo became the one in one film over the course of one movie.
But they didn't defeat the evil in the first Matrix
No,
film,
but they're
actually.
referring to the good guy's journey rather than the fight of evil.
Yeah, his journey wasn't complete.
They're referring to the power, not the quest to defeat evil.
No, they were talking about the quest, too.
Mm,
The quest.
not how I.
Because they were saying how, like, the other ones took 3 movies to complete the quest.
Yeah, the heroes
And
gradually got stronger with each one. Neo got no stronger.
And
Until
no,
the
that's
very
not what they're
last
saying. They're
scene,
saying is
actually.
they're
Neo's
talking about the
journey was not
complete
complete
hero's
'cause he
journey
still
here.
had to
And
defeat the
yeah,
Matrix
like
itself and
imagine
save
hero
Zion.
progressing from New Hope to Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, and then the Lord of the Rings ones. And it said, in the Matrix, on the other hand, the whole process is contained in one film.
Exactly.
Not aware that there are other films.
I mean, what's one more film?
They should have had Orion write this.
So yeah, it's not a good. I feel like
If Orion had written
it
this, we
feels
would
like
have had
whoever
something
wrote this
a lot different.
only watched movies on a very superficial level when they were a kid.
You
and
mean they
didn't
had a
really revisit
superficial
them.
understanding of the movies?
Yeah.
Or a superficial knowledge of the movies?
They don't really seem to
The
be all
Kimu,
that
as
into
portrayed
things
by John
with
Travolta.
very deep plots. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been
Different
that great either.
And then Gotti shows up.
And then Frono
Got
goes
him.
up and gets
Got
eaten
him.
alive by villagers.
All right, you know
Yes,
what? We
and
should
the
give
real
this to
villain is
Orion.
Orion from BCC here.
We should give this to Orion and tell him to redraft it for us.
Just read it and just go to town.
We should get our other favorite author to do it for us.
Our other favorite author.
Yeah. Leo gets it.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. All right. I don't know why we're referencing that on the podcast. That's a long story. All right. Blah. Now we have the Mask of Power, and the only interesting thing about this is it became a meme.
Ah, yes.
What became a meme?
There's this one, down here.
Not
Mask of the Mask Maker. This was the mask he was
Oh.
buried with.
Yeah, it's a shame it was only a subset of a
mystical
meme
mask.
in the
Ah,
community.
Mask of Ultimate
But it was
Power,
a good
Mystical
one.
Mask.
file.
Year 3,
STL.
released in 2017. That's a real knee slapper, guys.
Mystical mask.
Oh, and
Okay,
it's
what's the
Mask
file
of
name
Time,
for
used by
3D
the Protectors
printed?
to summon the
Like
Toa.
how even here
Steam.
they don't
Is it
know what these
.stl?
masks do.
No. Oh, someone else will be able to tell me.
They really, really don't know.
Even in the
Mask
originals,
of
we
the
had
Lord
like
of Skull
12
Spiders.
different masks in the original.
Upgraded.
I don't remember.
Mask of
I'm
Bone
not sure.
Slicer.
I find this interesting. Lord Skullgrinder was translated the same as Skullgrinder. Steel Skull, which I think is a cool name. Skeleton Warriors were Chilling Skulls. Skull Slicer and Bone Slicer were the same. Corrupted Masks were translated as harmful. I like this.
All right, so now we're on to intellectual property.
Gee.
And
Oh boy, love me some intellectual property. Mm-mm.
yeah, there's nothing in here at all.
Oh, come on.
We got all this. I believe actually this was like put in the beginning of the first graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Ah,
was.
let's see. There's
Or
a forward
version
here.
of this. It was basically this.
There's a forward here. The island is the stage for plot development.
Oh boy.
It was created to demonstrate 6 distinct territories of the forces of nature.
We've seen
One
that
for each
before.
of the 6 characters. It is a new island. We decided to step away from the old concept of the Bionicle Island and create a new world not burdened by the old limitations and stories. Again, I really
they not
think the
know-
people who wrote this didn't like G1.
Did they not know there's more than one island in G1?
This
Again,
is also
I don't
legitimately
think they
hilarious
liked
because
it.
they're all like, "Hey guys, we're stepping away from the island thing. We're making a new island.
And it's the only island on the entire planet, so it's a supercontinent and not an
There's
island.
nothing truly to
It
separate
literally is.
Akoto from Matanui in concept.
No,
No, except
except
it's
for
the
the
only
fact that
island on the
Matanui
entire
has
planet.
more
And
stuff
the
going
crater.
on.
Exactly. Matanui was one
Matanui
island in a chain
is
of
so
many
cool.
islands and junk like that.
Like all that's here are like a few nondescript villages.
And the Temple of
like
Time.
if you look at it on the superficial level, that's just given in the story Bible. All you have are a
Okay.
few nondescript villages and the city of the mask makers. That's all you get. Oh, and the crater. That's it. That's all you get. That's
Which we
8
did get.
locations.
Actually, again, I believe that was in the beginning of the first graphic novel. It talked about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the temple.
So
of
then
Time,
we
I
have
think, so it's not-
territories, which we got on the website.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Did you
but
say-
we
I
got a
believe
very
is the exact-
surface level understanding of those. A
Don't you mean
superficial
Kini?
knowledge, if you will.
Kini.
But with Matanui, you got
It's always
the
Kini.
villages, the landscapes that they were in. You got means of
It is
travel. You got the Kaini Nui. You got the path to Kaini Nui.
You call it Kaini Nui?
For
Kaini
off the top of
Nui,
your
the
head,
Kini
location
Nui
of
or whatever?
Matanui that are
Kini
not
I was
Nui.
going to say
world.
Kini
I was
Nui.
gonna say
but-
Oh,
Kini
I always
Nui,
heard
but-
Kaini
You do
Nui.
you.
Okay, never mind.
And
It's legal.
all right. That's-
It is
Alright.
Lua.
Yes.
It's true.
But you made me lose my train of thought.
Jenkins.
all right, that's 4.
But you got a lot of different varied
Which,
locations.
what beach? It's surrounded by
Matanui.
beach.
Trencrum break.
Hey,
Mount Ihu.
the Charred Forest.
The not observatory, the telescope.
Ah, yeah, the telescope. The beach.
Waterfall.
Yeah.
The Takoro Beach.
The tunnel system?
Yakuza's Lair, Motar.
Ah, the tunnel
Desert.
system, yes. The
The
underground
Lightstone
highway. if
mine
you
with
will.
the slaves.
The
The
Rama
cult of the
Hive,
Candleheads.
for example.
Actually, the Borak Hive also.
Yeah,
there are
that
also
too.
a lot of
Yeah, but the point there,
underground
there's
passages
still
that
depth
lead
to the
to-
island of
I
Montanui,
don't
which even
remember
after
where.
all these years,
I
we
think the
still
Borak, though.
remember.
That little canyon with the masks engraved.
The bottom of Vakama's staff.
Wait, hold on. There's one thing I want to mention. They have a note here next to
Anyway,
the ruined city of the Master
so
Maker that's
let's keep
approximately
going
the
through
size
here.
of Manhattan.
Now, so everything else is basically posted on the website, and we get to free to publication stuff, which was definitely posted on the website.
Transcripts.
So the
Guys,
only
we got
island
some
on the
lore
planet
here.
is the size of New York.
And so yeah, then we have the character descriptions and the darn it, the
Assume
word
nothing.
escapes me. The script, not script, but you know
The
what I mean
plot.
for
Transcript?
the animation transcript.
Yeah.
And that's it. So now that we've gotten through that, so let's assume for a second
That this is
boy.
Aqua
the
Magna.
people who made
Q.
this are listening to us now.
If you make sure everyone else goes before
Oh,
me,
boy.
I
Please
need to go
put some
last.
effort in.
You're telling me this
No.
now?
Let's assume that. So what would you tell
What are
them?
you talking about? The line sold
Anyone
well.
first?
Is this really a prudent question to ask?
Yes, because
The
I know
line
exactly what I'd
sold
tell
well.
them.
How about you
Wow.
try harder? Like, why don't you give an actual product that people want?
Oh, right.
Like, no
Okay,
wonder
thank
they
you for
didn't
sharing,
buy the
Ford.
sets. They had nothing to latch onto with it. There's nothing here.
We needed an Okoto online game.
Not
Figure
well
it out.
enough, my friend.
You didn't
Alright, I
just-
have some thoughts.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry, you didn't know what you're doing at all. Not in the least bit, because if you did, you would have understood what exactly made Bionicle successful to begin with. I don't know what orders you were given, but even with that, you hardly actually reference what people like about G1 in here at all. Not even a light version of it. You reference properties more like Lord of the Rings and Stars, which you don't even take a surface level depth out of for this story.
Also,
You could say,
if I may interject, why would you
No.
reference Star Wars and Lord of the Rings wrongly, I might add? when you're trying to make a Bionicle reboot and then you never reference the original Bionicle whatsoever at all.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It doesn't make any sense.
Now, they do say they want to avoid it at all costs many times.
They didn't say avoid it at all costs.
They might as
Let's
well
not say
also
have.
had the whole
And
Mask of Light
that
thing.
was the intent, because they did.
They didn't really avoid it at all costs.
And a
Anything
splash
they
of
had in
Artaka.
here was from G1. Really.
I mean,
Yeah,
they used
Mask-
names from it, but...
Akimu.
No, the
Was from G1.
main concept. Well, Ikimu was is Madanui Light. Basically, he's a combination of Madanui and Takanui
yes,
Light.
with a little bit of his own different self in there.
And yeah,
With a
they have the
little bit
same
of a
characters.
comma.
The concept of collecting masks. The villain.
Vaguely the concept of collecting masks.
Well, yeah, it's still ripped from G1. Still, there's not really.
But
many
is that
other
really
Yeah, but none of that
what
is
people
lore
liked
from
about
G1.
G1?
That's all just
No, I'm not
superficial
saying-
characteristics to tie the two together.
That's my
So there's
point.
no lore from G1.
Yeah.
That's my whole point here. None of it. I don't understand why you didn't take anything of what people actually liked, and let alone you didn't introduce a single new thing.
And
Really,
all the
not
mask
truly.
powers were their own powers. Like, Fire Guy has Fire Mask? That's so lame.
I just don't understand why you have a job.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say
Again,
like,
I don't know the circumstances. Maybe this isn't what you wanted to do, and if not, I understand. But there is no indication to me that there's any heart or mind put into this stuff. It just does not show.
Have you
G2
been
was a
holding back
bad
since 2015,
story.
LQ?
End of discussion. There
Have you been
is
holding
no
that back
arguing
since
that.
2015, LQ?
You
And
can't
just
say,
now
oh,
came
it's up
out?
to interpretation. Oh, it's just... Even for kids, this is a bad story.
Mhm.
It's just plain bad. It was bad all along, and it never got any better.
hey,
Well, I guess that's a yes then. G2
Yeah.
did make us hate Bionicle.
No.
Huh? No,
because
I held
back
out
in-
judgment
yeah, back
until
in-
I saw this.
Yeah, back in 2015, there was a chance that maybe they wanted to tell a story, but they
Yeah,
couldn't.
I totally regret giving you guys any chance, any benefit of the doubt, or anything, because, yeah, this is you, LEGO, this is you, story team, you failed.
And that's why the line did too.
if I may, the prequels were better than this.
Well,
because
yeah,
they
they're
actually
great.
had a story
Chancellor Palpatine.
It was just hidden between
Story
the
lines
cracks
are speciality.
of bad acting.
I wish this at least had some bad acting.
Yeah.
It does.
Maybe it had a little bit.
It has
but not,
so
it wasn't
much
funny enough,
bad
though.
The worst
acting.
part of
you know,
it
I
is
was going to say a long and well thought out message, but I can't really say anything that could possibly top that. So.
Yeah.
Well, just say give your thoughts anyways. It doesn't have to top mine. I don't even
sure
know.
People
Mine
will
doesn't-
judge me, I'm sure.
No one listens to this.
Oh, that's why you said all that. Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I
there's
might
no way
listen to
these
it now.
Russians
No, I-
are actually
for the record,
translating this.
I would be totally fine with the people in charge of Bionicle hearing that.
Yeah, especially
I
now
know
that
you are.
the
You have
thing
different
is dead.
standards
Also-
than I do.
We don't want any of you to take this personally. We want to make that
Oh
clear
no, it's
as
not
well.
personally. It's just very harshly professionally.
Yeah, we're being harsh, but we don't mean this to be like a personal attack on you or what you do at all, but you know.
No, it is an attack on what they do.
But a personal attack.
Well,
There's
it's
a
not
difference
personal
between
if it's
just
on
an
what
attack
they
and a
do.
personal attack.
Yeah, I don't know what their character is. I haven't met these
Yeah,
people.
we're not
All I can
judging your
judge is their work.
character by the content you create.
Maybe your
we're just
work
judging
ethic.
the content you create and maybe your work ethic.
And
Yeah,
you're
go
all
ahead,
ugly.
Glenda. Say your thoughts.
Okay. So, for a while, I actually didn't have as much of a problem with G2. I've gone kind of back and forth with it. Like, I initially was excited for it, and then I hated it, and then I kind of liked it, and I was kind of starting to warm up to it again, kind of as its own thing, kind of distinct from Bionicle, and then there's this. They decided to go off and both decide they're going to take away everything good about Bionicle and still try to ride on the stuff that Bionicle had good without using any of it. Like, I know people have already gone over this, but the Mask of Time thing, I had hoped that they were literally going to do something for it. It was literally just a marketing ploy that they weren't going to do anything with. The only reason I was excited for that was because maybe they're going to go somewhere with this. Maybe they're going to do something.
If I may interject here, they didn't have any plans of going anywhere with anything.
Well, that's my point. And
They had Mask of Light, Mask of Time, and every single
little. They didn't know where they were going with this. They didn't know what they were going to do. They were just like, okay, let's make something that superficially has the appearance of Bionicle, but nothing that actually gave it its character and its heart.
It's like Star
honestly,
Wars
if
droids.
the story writing had been as good as some of the concept art for this, it would have been a really great story. And the concept art was the best part of G2.
And I think we should specify, we're not asking for it to be G1 again.
No.
A good example of how LEGO can do this again, Ninjago. Ninjago has lore. I mean, Ninjago's not perfect by any means, but it has great characters,
not.
great lore, a lot of very unique things in it, and it's obviously captured a whole new generation. It really loves it. Maybe more than the Bionicle fans ever loved Bionicle. You know, it's possible to do under the standards LEGO has. I don't know why you couldn't have at least done that much. You didn't need a TV show for it. You don't need a lot of words to express a story.
Am I allowed to continue?
Yeah. I thought you were done, sorry.
I barely get to finish my sentences, you guys. I swear. Dang it, you made me lose my train of thought.
I can't have more than 3 seconds of dead air.
I know, but then I forgot what I was going to say. I blame you personally for this. But
I am blameless.
Why don't you think on it and we can let Mace go?
Okay. Go ahead, Mace.
Oh no, I've said my piece. They failed. I'm
when we're
disappointed.
30.
I still want G3.
Really? After this?
Yes, because
I
more
think-
is better
I
than
think it
nothing.
needs-
I don't want Bionicle as an IP to die, fade away forever. Maybe be revived in
I
20
want
years.
G3 at
No, I need to go
years
last, go
later
ahead.
when...
Yeah, I don't want it right now.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want it right this minute. I don't even want it next year or even in 2 years, but I do want it at some point. I don't want this to be the end of anyone's attempt at doing a good Bionicle story. This can't be the last attempt. This can't be it. It just can't be.
May I try again, or should Leo go next? Okay. So, like I said, it could have gone a lot of different places. I'm not going to necessarily say that it had potential, because the idea itself is potential. That was the allure behind Bionicle, that there was so much there. And there was just an absence of stuff here. And I know that some people do decide to take that as, well, I'll just basically create my own world in that and basically insert my whatever. So that's not the way that Bionicle was, though. And if you can enjoy it like that, then I totally understand that, and that's good for you. But it's not what this is supposed to be.
And it also wasn't enough to save the theme.
Well, clearly it wasn't enough to save the theme. But also, then, even with that, then that wasn't even what you Bionicle people, that wasn't even what you were going for. You were just riding off of, okay, it's colorful and that'll attract the younger audience, and it says Bionicle, so it'll attract the older audience. It's great, what could go wrong? And I don't know if they had too much faith in it or not enough faith in it. I think it was some bizarre amalgamation of the two, where they had enough faith in, it's Bionicle, of course it'll sell well. And there's no way that this is going to sell well, we can't put any effort into this. Because we'll just waste money this
It's a
way.
strange dichotomy for sure.
And I would have loved to have a competent story team. I would have loved to get Chris Faber back on it, like I've said. But it's just disappointing.
If I may say one more thing before
Okay.
Leo gives his piece. I sit here in front of every G2 set that was produced for retail. And I'm thinking, what does all of this mean anymore? They barely had any idea what was going on with it. The people writing the story had barely any idea what was going on. Because they tried to capture the imagination of kids and adults alike. but they never
Yeah.
figured out a way to inspire the imagination. Their excuse for not inspiring imagination was just leave it to the fans. They'll figure it out. And that just doesn't work.
It reminds me of that episode of Phineas and Ferb where they make the toy. You know what I'm talking about, Ford? Do you see that one?
I was
Oh,
going to
yeah.
say it reminded me of an
I
experience
love
I
it!
had in
What are we
college
talking
with
about?
group projects.
Yes. Or the brick. Little, you need an idea for a new
The
toy.
brick.
Or we need an idea for Bionicle's story. I found this in my office next to a pile of shattered glass.
It's pretty much what this
That's
is.
basically.
I mean, it reminded me of a particular college story of mine, but
Yeah.
yours is probably.
I said this
appropriate.
before, like, off call, I think. But this sounds like this was written just after a meeting with, like, a general manager or something like that. Saying, like, hey, you got that story treatment up yet? Oh, well, I'm working on it. Oh, well, it's due tomorrow for the meeting. You know, you're meeting with the CEO of the company. You might want to get it done. And they were like, oh, okay. Oh my goodness, we need to get this done now. Somebody
Also
get a
take
team
note-
of people on this pronto.
This was at least 2 or 3 years of planning, according to what we've been told.
I don't believe that.
All of that was sets. All of
That sounds like nonsense. This
I
could
could
not have
have
been
done
done in
better
2
than that
years
in-
and have been checked
We
over
know,
and
I
over
believe
and
it was-
over.
Yeah, I believe it was like Hero Factory Breakout around that time when they thought we're going to bring back Bionicle.
Ironically, Breakout being.
I
the
mean,
only
I
great
can
year
believe
of
that,
HF.
where they were, like, drawing out the concept art and making the sets, but the story treatment, I really believe that
Alright.
only came up in, like,
So I was cheated out on my
2014,
robot
and they
dinosaurs
didn't give it a lot
for
of thought.
this.
It's
Well, for the
very
concept art, they would have had to draw
So-
it after the story because it's based on the only bits of story there is.
But still,
Sorry,
the whole
there's a-
reason why Bionicle's canceled
So-
in the first place.
All right,
was
we're running out of
the
time,
IP
so we
could
should
have
let
a
Leo
rest,
go.
Yeah.
Be brought back again in a fresher form, sell well, be successful.
Yeah, we're gonna get
not
Robots.
quite.
Bionicle
It wasn't
just
for this,
pittered
but
out his last
we
It was
were
more
gonna
for
get that.
Hero
We'll get some
Factory,
pretty
but
great
okay.
sets with a really, really great story. As opposed to get some really awesome sets with this mediocre plan.
Okay, that
Smart.
is true.
Because exactly, we would have had a completion to the Byron Magna saga. We would have gone to Boda Magna, and we would have had a final battle that probably would have amounted more than just Makuta getting mooned. And they,
Honestly, it
in this
probably would have
document,
too
they
because then
referenced Lord of
G1
the
would have
Rings,
gotten a
they
proper
referenced
ending.
Star Wars, and Lord of the Rings especially gets me being a huge fan of the Legendarium that Tolkien wrote. The force of Lord of the Rings is the mystery behind it. You read the books, you see these songs,
And none
you
of
see
our
this
major
history.
players played
Everything
a
that
part,
the character's done is
except Taru,
influence
I
of what
guess.
has come before. In this, there is none of that for G2. There is nothing that came before because everything that came before is the Mask of Time. The Mask of Time is only there as a link for what came before, what the fans could think of to connect this in some way, so this people working on this didn't have to. You know, I haven't seen the G1 story Bible for this, so I don't quite know it, but how they all integrated it and connected it. But there was a very obvious, from the very beginning, this is where we're going. We are going to wake up this giant robot
Yeah,
that's sleeping
purely
beneath our
superficial.
island, and it doesn't matter how long we're going to get there. Even if it's 8 years after the line launches, we're going to do it. I mean, we know they're going to, from interviews with Greg, they were going to do it in the first year, but
That makes me think.
still, the fact they delayed this, they said, all right, we're going to keep this going, see where it goes, and it went. I mean, next year later, 2002 was the best-selling year Bionicle ever had, and
They decided, no, we got something golden.
yeah. I mean, it was 2003 and Lego. It was 2003 Bionicle and Lego Star Wars that kept Lego afloat back then.
And then even years leading after that, it was one of the only Lego themes to make money.
Yeah.
Darn straight.
I think if they're gonna bring on a G3, and I don't want to cut in here, if they're gonna bring on a G3, they gotta bring it back with like a pitch akin to that of 80s G.I. Joe, where they gotta really make it hit home with the CEO and all the investors and all that to make them say, yeah, this is
I
gonna
do
work.
want to point out, Lego doesn't have investors.
Well, they gotta make it work with whoever the higher ups are to say, yeah, this is gonna hit home. This is gonna make us money. Not just say like, yeah, whatever, do it.
If they do it again,
Like
I want a
actually
Lego TV
make
show
it
for it, too.
work.
It has to be
All right.
a priority, or else it's not
Exactly.
You know, we're
Like
going
you
over
don't just say like,
the description
yeah,
of
this
the
is a
island
priority.
of Makoto
You
itself.
make it a priority.
And just by
you
reading
work
the Favorite
to
Files
get it
blog,
there. Like,
we know
go
that
watch the Toys
they're-
That Made Us on
because
G.I.
they
Joe.
tied in
It's
their
the
twist,
perfect
the
example
giant
of what you
robot,
should do.
with the landscape itself.
Do
Not
it.
just with Kininu, but the three
Leo,
Finger
back to you.
Islands, which we never got to explore, but were there in concept art. That too. You know, it's little hints like that, which over the course of 8 years led to this huge reveal that shocked everyone in the Bionicle fandom and had everyone spinning on their heads. And it was glorious. There is no evidence that they had planned to do this.
And
No
Mount
evidence they even
Ihu,
thought of trying to
who
replicate it.
knows?
They just, alright, mask time. Let's see where it goes. It's just half a mask. That's cool. That's just enough. We don't have to explain why it's just half a mask. It's just half a mask. That just kills me. I can't stand it. It's one of the worst ways to write a story. You don't use that to inspire your fans to get involved in the theme. You use the theme itself in the way G1 did, because G2 inspired great mocks,
And then they dropped
Those
that by
mocks-
the next year.
great design. There really wasn't much story into them. It was just the fans doing, all right, what are we going to do with this? We have nothing to work with. But there are people still being continually inspired by by G1. And it's people who still continue to post stuff on Custom Bionicle Wiki, even though that site's is slowly dying. It's people who continue to post their mocks from Bionicle G1 on Lego TTV message boards. The Brotherhood of Makuta project, we're still doing stuff with G1 because it continues to inspire. Just... It is still going. We're almost done, by the way. We have 7 Makuta left out of 100. And you know,
That's really still going.
there's still just so much stuff that people
That's
are still doing
incredible.
with G1, even after 8 years.
In a
of
good
being
sense.
Canceled.
In a good
8
good
years.
sense. That's amazing.
Bionicle's about to turn 20 soon.
Whew.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah.
I better get in on that.
And I just don't see anyway, like, when we're 30 years old, we're not going to look back at G2 like Transformers fans in the 90s looked back at G1 itself. We're not going to see it as our Beast Wars. We're going to see it as our
Don't make me feel old.
Robots in Disguise from 2001. We're not really going to mention it much. Yeah. It had fond memories for me too, but they're not intrinsically with the story of G2 itself.
Well, there is one reason why I'll look at G2.
Yeah.
Well,
Pretty
two
sure
reasons
Robots
why
in
I'll look
Disguise
at
2001 was
up.
better. It had more lore.
Yeah, there are two reasons why I will look back
fans,
at G2 with
people,
fond memories. Though,
don't
but
let this
keep going.
discourage you. Continue to be inspired. Be inspired by Bionicle. Be inspired by Star Wars. Be inspired by the Lord of the Rings. You know,
Yeah, it's not.
no, be inspired and get a job.
Yeah,
Get a degree. Do something you love. Get a technical degree. Make money.
or you can be discouraged and go get a job.
That too.
I'm kidding.
Or
I'm
you
kidding.
could, you could be inspired to get a job by
Read the
Bionicle.
Republic, folks.
Yeah. Go to vocational school or something.
I see what you did there. Okay. That was just a total joke.
And read a book, dang it.
Leo, that was the
We need
most
to
beautiful
subvert our
dang thing I've
expectations and
heard
go
all
longer.
week.
Yeah.
Alright.
And win the box set of G2 sets. Oh, wait. I did
What?
that.
Yeah, this needs to end.
Buy
Like
Spider-Man
G2.
PS4. Buy it.
This does need
You're not
to
saying
end,
it
but
quick
not
enough.
in the way you think.
It will only end in blood and death.
I could probably go an hour just ranting on what's wrong with G2 alone.
Oh,
I'm sure that
I'd
you
love to
could.
join you.
I'm just gonna say, though, if I may say one quick thing. No one's saying no, so I'm gonna take
Go.
that as a yes. When Bionicle G2 ended, I shed tears, and I now am sorry that I did that, because the work that they put into this, it wasn't worth that. It was the emotional investment that I had put into the idea of Bionicle itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
think I burned out a little bit quicker than you on it. When I remember when Forrest Tongue was like, "Oh, so that's the end, I guess." Okay, no mask. That's too bad. All right, what else is on TV?
Yeah. But me, I was like, I was fully invested. I was just like, Glenda, I was like, I didn't actually cry, but I was seething mad because I had just invested all this weight.
I was a little bit excited to do Lego content.
Yeah,
on the
I
channel,
but I
too.
just
Go to
invested
Taco
all
Cookies.
this weight into something that I knew wasn't going to go anywhere now.
It was really disappointing to see that
All right.
holding out.
I will
will
never
bear
be
no
an
fruit.
apologist again. If I am, call me out on it. Okay?
What about the prequel?
Or say something positive about
You never
G1.
apologize.
They're legitimately good compared to the sequels.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to.
All right,
apologize
we need
for
to
the
wrap
rest of
this
your
up,
life.
as was said.
We veered
Late
into Star
night
Wars
show.
territory. We need to abort now.
Yes.
Okay.
So, thank you all for listening to this episode of the BCC podcast. If you want to hear us talk more trash about G2, leave a comment below. And and then maybe we'll do a live stream where we see how long we can, fill the air with just complaining about G2. That might be fun.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Not until we get 1,000 subscribers, though, because I want super chat
Mhm.
for that. Orion, not just because we're gonna get money from you guys, but because Orion is gonna give us money.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, once we get super chat, Orion is going to literally give us his money because he'll spend it on a whim.
He's gonna try and get us to say
Yeah,
Gotti
speaking
too.
of that, I do want to get us up to 1,000 subscribers soon, just for
Thanks,
the sake of
YouTube.
saying we finally got 1,000 subscribers. After what? Almost 5 years?
Better yet, hit the
We should talk
notification
about the
bell.
special
4
we
and a
have
half.
planned.
We have a special planned?
Exactly. So there's
No,
no
I
motivation
said a long
for you
time
guys
ago,
to
I'm
make
not
us
doing
100
anything for 1,000 subscribers
subscribers.
special, because I lost all hype for the subscriber count a long time ago.
I know.
I stopped caring. I just care
So
about
guys, subscribe
podcasts.
whether you want to or not. I don't know. If you don't want it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We will do a live stream, though, once we get that.
Also subscribe to BCC After Hours for other content.
Yes, I just uploaded another Let's Play there, yesterday.
When are we going to do
so
our Morrowind?
Zoo
Let's-
Tycoon.
that's on. We're waiting for
Oh,
a
dear.
certain game to go on sale, too, so we can do a Let's
Morrowind.
Play of it, me and Malaris, and I'm really
Really?
excited about
Spider-Man
it.
PS4.
But I don't want to pay full price for a game,
Not
so...
Spider-Man PS4 though. That would be an
that's
awesome Let's Play.
disappointing.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
that'd be an
be
awesome
No.
Let's Play.
No, but
Be inspired.
it'll be really
I
fun
want to play
when it does go on
Spider-Man
sale.
PS4.
Never.
What? Let's play?
Skyrim prequel.
Alright.
Uh,
So for Ford, Klenda, Leo, Mace, and myself, LQ, we thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Farewell.
have a better
Duty,
one than G2
duty.
did.
Destiny.